Welcome to Run Free and Live. So, yesterday I had the privilege, or torture, how you want to look at it, to run an interval workout. Interval workouts, from my understanding, is basically doing sets of fast running followed by either rest fully, where you're standing, getting the rest period, or you do a jog for either so many minutes, so many seconds, or for like 50 meters, 100 meters on a track. And most of the time, your intervals are done on a track. So yesterday, I had to do 8 by 2 minutes hard with 1 minute recovery jog, basically. So these 8 minutes were, so you did 2 minutes very hard 8 times. Then you have your 1 minute recovery jog around the track. It came out to roughly 3.5 miles total to do this whole workout. It was started with a 2 mile warm up with some strides before, just basically 100 meters where you start, get your feet going, or you get a little faster to sprint to the end for 100 meters. Do that 4 times to get yourself ready to go. Then you go into your 8 by 2 minute hard, and then the cool down was 2.5 miles because the whole run from the cool down workout to even the warm up was supposed to total 6 miles. The pace was scheduled to be at 7:10 pace. How do you know you're gonna be running 7:10 for 2 minutes? The one thing I can worry about is using my GPS watch, my Garmin, or using Strava on my watch. I have an iPhone. Well, I have an Apple Watch to kind of do Strava. That's why you can see me on Strava. That's what's helped me. And the paces are always off. It's never intent. So when I was thinking about doing this workout of how I'm gonna start off the pace, I knew that the paces weren't gonna be accurate, but it's gonna be the best I can do. And the other thing I was gonna do is trying to see how the effort felt and try to go off those efforts and to do 8 of them, which means you can't go out too fast in the beginning because after two or three or four of them, if you run out of gas and you can't and you're not be able to hit the paces, then you kind of lose the workout early. But you don't want to go too slow, and then it's bad as well. At least I feel it's bad. I know sometimes people say if you do the first two too slow, it's okay. You still have 6 more to get good, but I don't want to do that either because I feel like you're wasting time, and maybe I should do an extra set or two. So was I skeptical? Yes, I was very skeptical. And the reason I was skeptical on the intervals yesterday was 2 minutes hard. It sounds weird. 2 minutes. These aren't 400s, they're not 200s, they're not 800s on mile repeats. It's just weird. So 2 minutes is just an arbitrary. It's just a time frame you have to run. You're not going to a certain length. Because at least when you're running around the track, you're doing 400s, you know exactly where you're going to end. On a 2 minutes, you don't know where you're ending. You're just going to end whatever the 2 minutes hits. So you have to gauge on your watch where the 2 minutes are. So what I did during the first two sets, at least, I saw where the first lap was. So after a lap, I was just over a minute. So it's roughly about a lap and a half. So I knew I could just focus on the pace, which, by the way, the pace on my watch, I didn't use the pace. I used lap pace. I find that pace jumps too much. This is one of my coach's ideas. The pace jumps too much, and I do concur. But if I lose lap pace, it's supposed to be what your pace is going to be for that mile, for the lap, and that's kind of where. So you're on pace to do this pace for that mile, and that's kind of what I used. And I noticed that after a lap, I was about in roughly about minute 5, or somewhere around that point. So I knew it was going to be over a lap. So I would focus on just running a lap to that point before I worry about looking at the time. Because my Garmin watch, you have three different things you can see on the watch. You can see in the center, I can see the time of pace I'm running. The top, I have it where the mileage I'm running, and the bottom I have is the time, the actual time, elapsed time of that lap. And so elapsed time is a little smaller and it's harder to see, and it is what it is, I guess. So I was skeptical. Yes, I was very skeptical. I just think it was gonna be. I'm like, this shouldn't be that difficult. 2 times 8 minutes times 8 times. That's 16 minutes worth of work. This can't be that difficult. So I took off on the first run, and oh, by the way, my legs felt great. It felt like everything was recovered very well, nicely. The Normatec, the crowd chamber, doing the foam roller on my hamstring and my buttocks right on the side. It's been doing phenomenal. I do Normatec every night before I go to sleep. The legs and the hips and the cryo chamber I try to do once a week. I've been thinking about maybe doing twice a week, but once a week is good so far. It really helps me recover for the next runs. Before I started using the cryo and the Normatec and even the foam rollers, I would feel heavy and stiff on my days. Oh, I would so bad. Like I would do a fast run, and the next day I'd be able to run a pace that was easy, but you'd feel stiff in your legs, like if legs didn't want to work. You try to lift your leg up, it'd be heavier than it would be if you were rested after like 3 days of doing nothing, no running and nothing. So it was great. It was a great feeling. So I did the warm up, and so I took off. My watch told me that I was already at 6:45, but I've been trying. I was like, whoa, but I wasn't trying. And so I made a split decision, just see what the pace does. It drops back down again, and it keeps going down and going around. And I'm looking at the watch for the mile, excuse me, for the minute, I'm trying to see what it is. I was assuming it'd be around maybe a little over before a lap or anything. I wasn't sure how fast I was going. And I noticed I was around 6:22, 6:23, and then 6:25 is where I was bouncing around. And then it zoned in and stopped around 6:22 mile pace. Now I got to remember with my GPS watch, it hits the mile time early. At least that's what I'm noticing on the track. It does. Sometimes out when I'm running regular routes, like around the lake and stuff, it might hit late, or it might hit early, just depending on the signal coming from. If it's cloud cover, it's windy. If it's what's going on with the atmosphere with the storms, it changes. But on the track, I've noticed it hits early. So my thought process of looking at the lap pace timer is about 10 seconds. It's not going to be accurate, but it's a good judge. So if I'm running at 6:22, I think I'm running around a 6:32 or maybe 6:35. If I want to be conservative, which is not a bad pace, I thought, because I ran my time trial for 2 miles last week, averaging about 6:27. So it's good pace. I mean, it feels good to know that I can still run this pace a week later, even though I did about a couple days ago. A couple days ago, I still did a tempo run, not tempo, threshold run, which is I did about 40 seconds slower, just so that way I could do 6 miles worth, which is on. If you listen to the podcast from a previous one, you can hear about that. Anyway, on this run, at 6:20, 6:22, and I did the minute rest. Didn't feel I was very tired. That's okay. He said go faster each one. A smidge. What is a smidge? I have no idea what a smidge is. So in my mind, I'm like, is that a couple seconds? That 10 seconds? It can't be 10 seconds because 8, 10 seconds, that's a minute and a half. So I'm like, it can't be that. I mean, if I was running minutes on, a minute off, maybe it would be 10 seconds, but this is like, no, I think a smidge is probably like maybe 3 or 4 seconds. And you just keep going faster and faster. So the second fast goes after the minute rest, the second fast goes, and I noticed that I'm at like 6:15, and I'm like, whoa. And it felt like the same pace. It's almost like the first lap, the first effort fast run felt like it was like a warm up. You're like, hey, this is what pace we're going. The second one dialed it in even more, and then the third one, I'm at 6:09. I'm like, whoa. And that really felt really good. I'm like, okay, cool. And so what I told myself was, let's try to stay under 6:09, at least right now. So the 4 and 5 were around like 6:05, 6:04s, and then I noticed in the sixth one, I hit below 6 minute on my watch, and I was like, wow, this is awesome. But also the six is where it really started hurting. I was like, jeez, this actually is hard. And so halfway through, psychologically, you have 4 more to go. I was starting to feel it. On the sixth one, it really hurt. And on the sixth one is where I became um, a believer of what I was doing for that workout, but also the skeptic went away of how like this can't be that hard. It actually was as hard as I thought it was, to the point where 7 and 8, I didn't even think I could complete. Seven, I barely completed. Seven was my slowest one because I went above 6 minute, and then on the eighth one, I dropped to about 5:52. It was like my pace I was at for the last set of 2 minutes hard. And after this whole workout was done, I just stood there and I thought about it. I'm like, wow, this actually was harder than I thought. And I really need to stay open-minded on these workouts. Have I ever done these workouts before? No, I have not. When's the last time I used a coach? 10 years ago. Do I know everything about running? No. Do you believe in yourself when you run? Yes. So there's a fine line I'm learning about myself where I have to be I have to be confident in what I can do, and if and go by feel. If I feel I can do something, keep going or push harder. If I feel like it's a little too much, back off. That's something I have. That's the only thing I have to control. Coach can't control that. I have to control that. So I do like that, and I enjoy the fact that I can control that. It's something in my wheelhouse. But one thing I am very not comfortable with yet is the fact that I have to be open. And I'm reading the John Maxwell book. Sometimes you win, sometimes you learn, and it talks about this very subject where you have to actually be humble, be willing to learn, and allow what's happening to just happen, and then take the retrospect of, what just happened here, and why did it happen? How can I use this to my benefit? And that's what I was thinking. I kept thinking to myself is, you want to be a Padawan. And I know I talk in Star Wars terms sometimes, which is fine, which is interesting because it is true. You have the master and the apprentice. So right now, my coach is kind of my master in a way. For this running coach, he has the skills and knowledge. He's showing me the way. Am I paying him? Yeah, absolutely, I'm paying him. I mean, how much am I paying? You asking? I pay $250 a month. Is that a lot? Yeah, but to be an elite, you have to find the people around you. They always say, surround yourself by the people who you want to be like and around. Tony Robbins, Zig Ziglar. I mean, name all the people. They keep saying, be the friends. If you Bill Gates is his mentor is Warren Buffett. So like breeds like. So if you want to be in that circle of people, model somebody. Get after those people. So I chose to get an elite runner who knows his stuff and say, show me. I'm willing to learn. And all he asks in return is, besides the money, is, will you be open? I'm gonna show you some things. Just be open to it. We'll tweak it to what works for you, and we'll go from there. And that's what we've been doing. I just find it very interesting that the first workout I did, a 2 mile time trial, I was kind of like, okay. And then we started doing these slow runs slower. And I was very like, we really gonna do 10-minute mile pace or slower on a slow run? I mean, I've been doing these slow runs where I'm down to like 8.5 minutes, even 8:40, 8:30 per mile pace, doing 8, 9 miles. Am I really gonna slow it down another minute or more? And you know what I learned? Being a Padawan, or just or being open to the learning process, that doing those for a couple days because he wanted me to recover and be good before we did time trial. I noticed that my legs felt better, they felt stronger, and when I ran time trial, I ran faster than I believed I could do. It was amazing. So this workout today showed more to me on that I really don't know as much as running as I thought I did when it comes to training, and that there's time to go fast and then there's times to go slow. And I really have to dial in the ego and the brain and of what I want to show off to the world. I dial it in and just not dial, maybe dial in is the wrong word choice to use. Maybe I should use the term choice, rein in. I gotta rein in the the ego. Is ego the right word? I don't know if the ego is the right word, but something like that, where I have to be willing to open. And that's something I'm noticing is very difficult because everyone's always come to me for answers when it comes to running and working out. And me going to somebody else, I'm not on my hands and knees begging, but it's like, it's humbling to know, to ask, like, hey, show me what you know. I really want to learn. The master has now become the student. Well, I was a master at one point, as I thought I was. Maybe I'm not. Anyway, I went on a little tangent. I do apologize. Overall, the workout was fantastic. Now I want to move into before I do that. Overall, the workout was great. It was great. I talked about what I learned from it and how I got to be very open. But it was so eye-opening to know that just doing 60 minutes of hard work you get so much out of it. You don't need to do an hour of hard. It's like going into the gym and lifting weights and everything. Do you really need to do an hour in the gym? Maybe 20 minutes is all you do. I think Jason Statham said the same thing. He'd rather do 40 minutes or 35 of hard work than do an hour and a half of mediocre. Because yeah, you're in the gym for an hour and a half, but you're really getting the benefit out of it. I think a lot of workout people, I think The Rock said the same thing. He goes in there, works hard. He goes there to work, he does his thing, and then he doesn't just lollygag. And I think the same thing has to do with these workouts. Whenever you go on a run, know what you're doing. And that's one thing I did before. I did tell myself before I started, even though I had some negativity about this workout, I did tell myself, what is the purpose of this run? The purpose is to go at a fast pace and be able to force your body to go faster and have to adapt to this faster running pace. That's a simple term. The technology term, I'm not sure exactly what I want to do a threshold. I want to do it 85, 90% max effort. I don't know those terms just yet, but the basic point of this was to run for 16 minutes, staggered, at a faster pace I've been able to run before, and force the body to adapt to that run as become the norm. That is basically the basic goal. And I told myself, okay, now did I run the 7:10 like we said? No, I have to adjust, and that's the point of working as well. You have to adjust the pace to what your body can do and is ready for. And on the tempo run that we did a few days ago, we did it at a 7:15, 7:20 pace, even 7:25. That was our range. We did it in a range. I think my highest, I think I was around 7:11, and then my lowest I was 7:25. It was a range to go for because we had to go up hills and down hills and stuff like that, and there was a little wind, but a range. And the point of that run was to go longer for 6 miles at that pace, but also at a hard effort. So I also learned that as well, to be open to the workout and what it's going to teach you, and that your body can do something to teach your body to go faster and force adaptation. Um, what's the other thing I learned? Oh, I'm trying to think now. I just forgot it, but I'm sure if you rewind this podcast in the beginning, you get the other points of it. I'm just, I'm just in awe, and I've been working with this coach now for today was day 12 of working with him, and a lot of eye-opening stuff. You should get a coach; it's great. So now that we did that workout, you think today, since this workout was yesterday, the 8 by 2 minutes hard, but today was the long run. And I remember thinking, wait a minute. Usually when I do a long run in the past, I just do an easy run. I do a recovery day in between, and then I do a long run the next day. But this long run wasn't going to be fast. It's going to be just easy. So it's basically a recovery run, just going longer. So my recovery runs have been like 5, 6 miles. That's what the recovery run's been. We're gonna go to 10 miles. That was it. Just go to 10 miles. That's it. Add some hills, which means as you're running the run, you go up a hill and down a hill around the same time frame. So I ran around the lake here, out here in Washington, and there was some we had some gusty winds here today. It was very gusty. One side it was like one side of the lake I hit the winds where it was on the side and to my front, and then the other side it was like where'd it go? I wasn't sure if that was I wasn't sure if that was the actual run itself, or I wasn't sure if that was the actual, just like the wind would come on and would stop. I don't know how that works. So that's very interesting. But it took me for this run today, though, it took about, I want to say 4 to 5 miles for the legs to loosen up. But after one thing I did forget is when I ran the intervals yesterday, I did Normatec yesterday. Um, I did it in the morning a little bit. I did about 20 minutes in the morning to kind of get myself good. But after all day work, I did it for an hour. I did an hour on the legs, and then I did about, I want to say 30 minutes on the hips, the way the Normatec works. When I got up and ran today, the heaviness wasn't there as much. It was fantastic. It was awesome. I did have had little lingering aches on where my hips, my butt hit next to my legs on the backside. You know, where you sit down. I had a little naring, and then some things right behind where the ligaments are, like a little stiffness of it. But those were loosening up as the run went on. I noticed, and by mile 5 and 6, I felt really loose, and I was running under a 6 minute. Excuse me, I was running roughly under a was it 9 minute mile pace by the end, by the last few miles. Not trying to, just because it was naturally open up. The first couple miles was definitely around 10 minute, just kind of loose and let my body go. I didn't focus on pace. I kept the watch light off. Most of this run was in the dark because it was here in Washington. It doesn't get light until almost 8 in the morning. I feel for you guys in Alaska and up to that area because it gets probably dark a lot. So I ran the run mostly with lights off when it comes to my watch, and just went by feel. Just my watch would beep every mile, and then the course where I ran is marked, so you know where the miles are. So I kept going until I hit mile 10. And when I went back and looked at the watches, I started noticing I got faster as time went on. And 6 and 7, I remember, was where I felt the difference. Because I remember when I was around 5, 6, I was looking at where am I at, about 5, 6 miles. I was like, oh, I feel different. And then 7, 8, and 9, it was like great. And then even 10, 10, I started feeling, I still felt good, but you could tell I was getting into the higher mileage. And I was like, okay, I'm getting high mileage, and I'm switching over from being just loose to now I'm like, okay, the miles is going up higher. So you tell that's those are the things you feel in the long run. That's how I look at it. When you get to the high mileage, you get to a point where you're getting warmed up into it. Then you get to that midsection where you're in it, you're doing great, you feel awesome. Then you get to the end where you're still doing good, but now you're feeling the toll of the long run, which is the point of it. One of the things that happened with the long run, and that's what I felt. And then when I got done the run, it's about a minute and 32, about 1 hour and 32 minutes. Went by pretty quick because I was listening to music the whole time, which is good for me, especially since it was raining and snowing, and then there was times with the wind. So the music helped zone me out, so I haven't just be without the music. So that was fantastic. But overall, these 2 runs today felt great. One thing I do like about having a coach that I hope you guys listen and take into coach if you do have a coach is when I was doing my other runs, I was doing specific runs during the week. We're changing up stuff, so I'm not doing the same workout all the time. I actually kind of like it a little bit now because I'm not worried about having perfect weather, perfect conditions where it's like it's not raining, it's not windy, it's not whatever. It's not the same day. It's not like every Monday we do this, every Friday we do that. No, it's changing. So some days I do a long run on Saturday. Sometimes I might do something on a Tuesday or Thursday. It's different days, and so it helps change it up. So that way, I'm just getting up and doing a workout. I'm not thinking about it, and it's like it's already been 12 days, and it goes by quick. I like that. Hopefully, this was a good insight into how everything's going on with me, and hopefully that you guys enjoyed this. This is just what's going on with me and my running. I think that this is a good start to this podcast series. I'm a couple podcasts in. I'm gonna get more. I want to get more into the live free part here shortly about something that's not running related about maybe my life or just on things I think in general. But yeah, that'll be in the future overall. Well, thank you for listening, and hope you have a good evening and take care.